Hello everyone. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Okay, it's been a while. So yeah, first let me do my little audio test. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so yeah, we're back. Yeah, it's been a really quiet week for my stream. I was traveling, and yeah, I think my last stream was on Monday, if I remember correctly. And yeah, after that I was traveling, and I was back yesterday, but I was traveling like all night. Uh, like yeah, and I arrived here like at 6 a.m. or so. And yeah, I was really tired. I only slept like a couple hours, and I was destroyed for the rest of the day. So so yeah, I wasn't in a good state to stream, honestly. So yeah, we basically skipped yesterday's stream, but yeah, we are live today, so that's great. It's not going to be a really long stream. I think I might be here for maybe an hour or so. I don't know. It's going to be a quick one, I think. So yeah, my camera is a bit offset, so let me just fix that really quick. I think that's better. Kinda. There. I think that's much better. Yeah. So well, I need to start like familiarizing again with everything, because yeah, it's been a while, and it's not like I was working on the game off stream. Like the last time I worked on the game was in the previous stream. So and I was working on this landing system, which I think I was like I was trying to build it in a really not the best way. So yeah, I was thinking about another way of doing this, which makes more sense. So yeah, let's get into it, okay? So basically, this is the thing. I'm always trying to think about the best way to implement stuff, and really often it happens that I end up over engineering stuff when it's not really needed, and I'm in like a prototyping phase, which is like really common in game dev. Like you always start by prototyping stuff, even in like late what's the thing I'm trying to say? So it's not only that you're prototyping when you're starting the game, you're also prototyping systems along the development. So in every stage of the development, you're prototyping stuff, because for example, let's say you already have your like movement system and your state machine for the character and your animation system and your combat system, everything, and you have like a pretty functioning game and stuff, but you want to start adding stuff. For example, you want to add breakable stuff in the level so that you can smash like some boxes and stuff to get some loot or coins, for example. So for that, you need to prototype stuff so that you can get a feeling of how it feels. A bit redundant, but like, hey Lou, how you doing? Hello, welcome. So yeah, basically, what you want to do is prototype the thing so that you can like as fast as possible get a feeling of that in the game. So so you get a sense uh, of how that thing, that new thing, feels like in the game. So for example, you want the quickest way for implementing the thing. So I'm not phrasing this the best way, honestly, but yeah, I'm not fully rested from the trip, so yeah. But yeah, basically that's like one of the main things in game development. Like one of the most basic things is just prototyping. If you want to, for example, your character to jump, you want to just add like the line of code that makes your character jump in whatever script, and that's it. And you want to test that first before working in the whole system that's with the better structure, that is scalable and maintainable and whatever. So basically, that's how it works in the prototyping phase. Everything is not coded in the best way, in the most optimal way, and everything. So I think a really good engineer is the one that knows how to identify where to start putting all of the details and structuring and creating all of the little things in a structure to make that system scalable, and the optimization basically, and knowing the difference between when to do that and when to not do that. So yeah, basically I'm not an engineer. I don't have a title or like a degree on software engineering or anything, or like programming. But yeah, I'm trying to learn along the way by making the game. So yeah, I already thought about another way of doing this, which I think could be like decent. So basically, we have the landing system, which is basically composed by two parts. So you have the landable zone, which is somewhere, some place or something that you can land on, and then the lander. And the lander is the thing that can land in a landable zone. Okay, so those are the two parts of the system. And basically what I needed to do is just have that system, and how it works is that let me just show you really quick. So you have, for example, in this case, in this game, the first need I need to work on for this is a planet. Okay, so I need to be able to land on a planet. So how do I do that? Okay, so I just basically need to let's say this is the planet and I have the starship. Okay, this is the starship. Okay, this is the starship, whatever. That's the best drawing of a starship you're going to see in your life. So let's say this is your starship, okay? And you want to be near, so like how the way I've structured the space scene in the game, you get close to planets, okay? And what should happen is when you're close to a planet, you should be able to land on the planet, okay? So if I'm at this distance, of course, the planet is like way back in the distance, in the background, okay? That's the impression I want to give. It's like an isometric view, okay? So that's why planets move slower when you move. Hey, Kilo, how you doing? Welcome. So basically, when you're going to, when you want to land on a planet, if you get to this distance, for example, you should be able to press an input and then land on the planet, okay? So for that, I need just a trigger, okay, in the planet, something like that, that then, of course, the starship also has a trigger, a collider, and when the starship enters that trigger, is like a zone, like an area, when you enter there, then something is going to happen. The starship is going to have, the starship is the lander, okay, and the planet is the landable zone, okay? I'm not going to write the whole thing. So when the lander interacts with the lander landable zone, what's going to happen is some information is going to be transferred, and then something is going to decide if this can land or not here, okay? So the part of the decision if it can or cannot land or whatever, that's something that for now we're going to skip, but I want to at least prepare the system so that it supports like extension for that. So what am I talking about? So when the lander interacts with the landable zone, the lander is going to say, hey, I entered a landable zone, so it's going to send some information, okay? It's like a package of information, and it's going to send that package to the landable zone saying, okay, here I am, I want to land here. Well, it's not like you going close to a planet doesn't necessarily mean that you want to land on the planet. What's going to happen is when you enter the zone, the information is going to be transferred about what you are, if you're a lander or not, and what kind of thing you are. And in the future, we're going to have some other properties, for example, if you have some kind of license to land there, for example, or stuff like that. But I don't know, those are just ideas for cases in the future. But right now, it should be really straightforward to just enter here and you press the button and you land. So for that, I'm trying to think about how the information should be transferred and what should do what. Okay, so the lander, I think, should inform the lander zone that it entered and should send the info, okay, this package of information about, hey, I am a lander and I am inside your zone, okay? And now the landable zone is going to receive that information, okay? And for example, now the only thing that's going to land in a planet is the player, okay? Because that's the only thing I have in the scene. There's no other like entities like enemies or NPCs, but I want for there to be those kind of characters and entities, okay? So what I'm thinking is, for example, an enemy could, if the enemy wants, it could go and just land in the planet, or an NPC could do it too, for example. So you can go here, for example, you're like around here and you see another starship, like it's an NPC, and you can see the NPC going to the planet. And then you can go to the planet and you should be able to see that NPC in the planet, for example. I don't know, maybe it's too advanced to think about that kind of mechanic for the game. But I don't know, it's something that I would like to do. So that's why I'm not only thinking about this as the player, but also I'm thinking about this as any entity that has a starship and can land in the planet. So, and I'm treating this like as a landable zone because planets are not the only thing that you can land on. You can also land on space stations or floating islands, for example, or like really big asteroids. So that's my idea. Okay, you can land on multiple types of things. So I don't want to be limiting the concept to just saying, okay, so planets are the thing you land on and that's it. I want to create the system in the most abstract way from the get-go, because I know that I want to do this. And there's an easy way to implement this and to be able to prototype it really fast. So in the previous stream, I was doing like something that was like complicated for no reason. So I have this class which is called background object, okay, which is basically a sprite that's going to be in some layer in the background, okay? So the background is divided by different layers for parallax. And they can have this pixelator baked thing which makes them pixelated. So for example, planets you can see here, they look pixelated because I like pixelating them post rendering. So those are created, like the texture of the planet is a shader, but the shader is not pixelated. So then I'm pixelated afterwards with another system I have, and it's not the most optimal way to do it, honestly, but I don't care. I'm going to worry about that later. So for now it works and it's fine. So this class, like the background object, is for what I said, just objects that are in layers in the background and that they belong to those layers, so that we can see them in the background and they move at a different rate than the camera, so that we can see the parallax effect. So you can already see this. There's several layers of parallax here. You can see like the red stars, they are already in 2 layers of parallax, and then the planets are in another layer, and then the farthest background, which is like the space texture, and also the star, those are also in another parallax layer. Those are in the farthest parallax layer. So that's basically what that class is for, okay, for objects that are in the background. Then I have another class which is called celestial object, which is for objects in space. That could be planets or satellites or even asteroids, space stations, whatever that belongs in space and it's a big object. That's going to be a celestial object. And then we have, for example, this, which is planet, implements its own version of the celestial object celestial object class. So planet, it's a child class of this, and it has its own implementations and stuff, okay? So basically, I was doing the landable zone. I was using that, like the landable zone class was being inherited from celestial object, which doesn't make any sense, because why would that mix like those two things which don't have anything in common? Like the background object thing is just for managing the parallax layer and the movement and just the sprite and the rendering of the sprite. That's it. In fact, I have to see if having this celestial object makes sense for this, but whatever. So it didn't make sense to have the landable system, the landable zone and the lander controller and all that mixed within the background object class. It doesn't make any sense. So I was thinking about making another thing, which is just use a component-based design pattern for this, which is basically just creating a new script. Okay, it's a new class. I have to change the name of the script. So basically this landable zone is its own class, and I'm kind of doing an interface now, which is really simple, but I don't know if I'm going to end up using this, but whatever. For now, I have the land zone, okay, which is a whatever that that you can land on, okay, and then I have the well, I didn't create it yet, but the idea is that, and this shouldn't even go here, I think it should go like in another place, but like the idea is that we have those two things, okay, those things I was explaining. So the landable zone, which can be a planet, and the lander, which can be a starship, okay. So this would be a component, okay, it would be just a component, okay. So the lander, it's going to be, for example, lander controller, and this is a component I can put on anything that could land on things, okay. And the same thing for the landable zone is going to be a component that I can put in planets, or I can put it in floating islands or space stations, or whatever thing I want to be able to land on, okay. So that that's my idea, so that it's not like coupled with other system that doesn't have anything to do with the landing interaction. And what does each of those systems have? So the land zone has an interaction area, which is the trigger, like the circle area, okay, that is going to detect anything that enters that area, and when it detects something, it's going to say on detect entity, because it only detects entities, okay. So whenever it detects an entity, then it's going to try to, well, it's going to filter based on which interaction type it is. So because like interaction area is going to fire events for each type of interaction. So you have on enter, you have on stay, and you have on exit. But I just want to do this on enter, okay, and also on exit. So for this, well, I'm just realizing that, well, it doesn't matter. So this is only going to be executed if the interaction type is enter. So whenever an entity enters this area, this landable zone, then this is going to try to extract the entity component of the parent, and if it doesn't have an entity component, then it's going to return and do nothing, okay. So then I have this log, which is for actually like logging if this detected the entity at all or not. So I'm just going to I have this. So after we get the entity thing, then we're going to execute some stuff here. And the thing is, I also don't need to, I don't want to get the entity component. I want to get the lander component. So I think that's going to be better. And that's why I was creating this iLandable interface. So yeah, then I'm thinking about I think I'm going to create the... Yeah, so this is where the thing gets a little tricky. So let's go ahead and go here into the systems, and I think under here, like under interaction system, I should call it like that, or maybe even interactions, just to have a shorter name. It's going to be more convenient. So let's just call it interactions. Okay, and then I'm just going to create a folder and going to say damage. And under damage, I'm going to have all of this, okay, which is the hitbox and blah, blah, blah. Then here, for example, hey, Pulero, hello, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. So here, I'm going to create another one, which is going to be landing. So yeah, I'm not sure how the final structure of everything is going to be, but the best thing I can do right now is just start like coding and creating each thing, and then when I need to refactor and extract things, then I will worry about that. But for now, I'm just going to say, okay, let's go here, going to move those two things here. Okay. So right here under systems, I have interactions, and I have this, which is landing, which, yeah, I don't know if this is a type of interaction. I don't care. I'm going to just do this here, and then I can, for example, just extract this. Yeah, I actually think maybe this should go like outside, maybe, because it's like, this is not an interaction area type. This is just something that uses the interaction area. So I'm just going to call it landing system. Then here I'm going to have a landing system script. Okay. Okay, landing system. And then I need to create, yeah, landing system. I'm going to close this. Planetary system. So landing system. Okay. Let me just copy. Yeah, whatever. It's going to say namespace Voyager. Neptosmic.Voyager. Okay. Okay, great. So now we have this landing system, and this is the script that's going to be kind of like the manager, okay, of all of the landing interactions that are going to happen. So for example, whenever any kind of starship goes into a planet and tries to land on the planet, it's going to inform the landing system, and this is going to be the one that's going to decide whether it can land or not, and is going to execute the actual landing thing. So yeah, so for that, I think I just need to go here into landable landing system, land system. Oh, yeah, because I have another kind of land, which is land like for actual ground. But yeah, landing is for actually landing on something with your starship, basically. So yeah, let's keep it simple for now. I'm going to say landable zone. And I have this interface, okay. Landable, okay. So I have this interface, which landable zone is going to implement. Here you can see, so whatever. Yeah, it has to return true or false, whatever. So so that's good. And now from here, I think I want to create another interface, which is called Islander. Well, I'm kind of thinking about just removing the interface thing and like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to remove the actual interface, because right now I don't see the reason why I should use an interface, because this is the only thing that's going to, the only class that's going to use those methods. So so yeah, I'm just going to, and I don't know if I want to do can land and land, so I'm just going to remove this also. And then I'm going to create another script here too, which is going to be called lander controller. So this is going to be lander controller. Okay, good. For this one, I also want the namespace Neptosmic Voyager. This, and that's it. Okay. Now, landable zone is going to have an interaction area. In lander controller, it's also going to have an interaction area. But who's the one that's going to? Hey, Bread Monsters. Hello, friend. How's it going? All good here, all good. I'm a bit tired. I was traveling like this week. I was, yeah. That's why I didn't stream for most of the week. It was a really, really quiet week for the stream. And yesterday I arrived home at 6 a.m. I think. I slept for 2 hours. I was really, really tired for the whole day. Oh yeah. But now I'm live, so that's good. So, how are you doing? How has been your week? So, I'm doing pretty good, thanks. That's a good one. Well, that's good, that's good. So yeah, I'm trying to think about this system, and I think I should not be spending a lot of time on this. I already spent like a whole stream on this, and all I did on this stream, on that stream, wasn't really useful, so I have to do this all again. I'm right now working on an Astrobot prototype to practice my skills in Godot and model in Blender. Oh, that's really good. And then make my own game. That's pretty good. That's really good. So yeah, I want to see whatever you make. That's going to be really, really fun. So yeah, I will share. Okay, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, I love to see stuff from you guys in the Discord. Whenever you send some stuff there, it's really good. It's really cool to see your stuff there. So yeah, the other, like the stream where I was testing your games and stuff, it was really, really fun. It was a really good stream. BRB working on the Astrobot prototype. Have a good one. Of course. Okay. So let's try to think about this. So this is conceptually this is similar to the hitbox and hurtbox system. So we have the hitboxes. Okay, hitboxes are, let's make it red for now, just for convenience. So hitboxes are red and hurtboxes are pink, for example. So let's make them, well, that's not a really, let's make them cyan. Okay, so this color. So this is a hitbox and this is a hurtbox. Okay, now what should happen? The way I have it set up right now is like this. Whenever a hitbox interacts with a hurtbox, it is going to inform the hurtbox and say, okay, I hit you and this is the damage info. So it sends a package containing all of the information of the damage. Okay, so you can see it. I have hitbox here and it has damage info, and then it has the interaction area, of course, and whenever it hits, if it gets the hurtbox of the other thing, if it successfully gets the hurtbox component, then it is going to say, okay, hurtbox dot receive hit. So this is like an active passive system where the hitbox is the active thing and the hurtbox is the passive thing. And what happens in the hurtbox side? The hurtbox is going to have this method which is run by the hitbox, and it can also be run by other things that can send damage info to the hurtbox. And then this is just going to fire an event with the damage info that it received. Okay, that's it. So then from here, whatever other script or system or entity can listen to this event and say, okay, so give me that damage info and I'm going to do something with it. And for example, one thing could be, so damage info, for now it just contains damage information. So that's how much damage it takes. Okay, so the hurtbox is going to fire this event and saying, okay, I have this damage info with, for example, 5 damage. Okay, so then when it receives that, it's going to fire the event. Okay, it says, okay, I was hit. And then whatever other system is going to listen to that event and receive the information. Okay, and with that information is going to say, okay, so we received 5 damage. Well, let's, for example, grab the life bar and reduce the HP by 5. Okay, that's basically the chain, the information chain. Okay, that's how I think about it. Of course, there's a million ways you can do this. I don't know if this is the best way of doing this, but I think it's a good way because it's really clean and it's really evident. Not evident, but it's really like clear the responsibility of each one of the parts, okay, in the system. So hitbox contains the damage information, and when it hits the hurtbox, it sends like the information to the hurtbox. That's the whole responsibility for the hitbox. Then the hurtbox is going to receive the damage information and fire an event with that. That's the sole purpose of the hurtbox. So that's a really clear system, and I think that's going to be fine. Okay, so we can basically use a similar concept for the lander and landing system. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that basically we can go here and say lander can be like, can act as the active, and landable zone is going to be the passive thing. So instead of doing this on detect entity, we're going to do it the other way around, because I think it's going to be easier for the lander controller to find the landable zone than it is for the landable zone to find a lander controller. Where I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing, but this is the thing. In the interaction system, this is what I have. So, for example, here in the astronaut starship, this is the thing I didn't think about yet, which is a bit confusing for me. But for example, here I have this interaction area, which is it's a physical collider. Okay, so this is just for preventing this to going through walls and stuff like that. This is the thing is, the starship is on space, and I don't think I'm going to add like solid colliders or limits or anything like that. So you're not going to be bumping into stuff. I don't think so. Maybe into other starship. I don't know. It could be fun to do that, but I don't know. For now, I just have it there. And now, what happens with this? The thing that happens with this is that I have this filter. So interaction areas have filter tags so that they only detect some things. Okay, so for example, the physics interaction area is going to only be detecting ground. Okay, and what does that mean? That means that, for example, in this context, it doesn't make any sense. But for example, in the planet, when you're like playing as the astronaut, okay, so imagine you're in the planet, okay, this is the ground, okay, the terrain. So if you're the character and you're like standing there, okay, you want the collider to detect the ground so that it knows that it is grounded. So then you can jump, and you know the basic logic for ground detection. So that's basically what I'm doing with the physical interaction area. But I also want to be detecting landable zones. So how am I going to do that? Well, I have a couple options. Well, I have two options. For example, I can make this interaction area also detect, for example, because this is a starship, maybe it can detect, for example, ground, which I think I'm going to be changing the name of this tag to be something like world or like physics maybe. And also add another tag here so that it detects other things, which could have like a generic tag. For example, I could have another tag called interactable. So for example, anything that's interactable, so like an interaction, like a landing zone, or maybe a lever that you can pull, or a button, or like a computer, you can interact with the computer. So so basically that's what I'm thinking. Now the thing is, if I do that and I have just one tag for that kind of thing, the problem is that for example, let's say that the lander controller, or let's make it here. So for example, on detect entity, yeah, let's make it here. So imagine the lander controller has a reference to the interaction area, okay? And then the interaction area collided with something. If that something has the interactable tag, it means that for whatever other systems or things that can have the interaction tag, this is going to execute the logic. So let's say that, for example, I have this event on detect interactable, okay? So let's say we detect an interactable, and here I'm going to say, okay, if, and let's say interaction info. So here I want to say, okay, so I detected an interactable and it's going to give me an interaction info, because that's the information that's passed through when the interaction area collides with something, okay? So we get the interaction info that contains information about the collision. So imagine that here I do this: if interaction info dot get component dot transform the get component, try get component, and I say out, for example, landable land zone. Why is it land zone? Oh yeah, I needed to, oh man. I think I'm going to change the name. Landable zone, it's going to be better. So, landable zone, okay, L. So, this code is basically going to search through all of the components and try to find this, the landable zone, and it's like trying to get components from other from whatever object in Unity is like not cheap. So it doesn't matter if you do it like once or twice, or like maybe like a couple dozen times, but if you do it every frame, it's not good. It's going to be really, really expensive. But if you do it like oh, I have new glasses, by the way. Those are really good. I really like them. Well, my camera is really dark, so you can really see them. Whatever. So the thing is, let's say the lander controller is going to enter a landable zone and is going to try to get the landable zone component. But what happens if I then have other kinds of things like interactables? So for example, let's say, and yeah, I can even go here. Okay, I'm going to copy this, paste it here, okay, whatever, and here, so what could be an interactable? Okay, so an interactable could be, for example, an NPC. It could be a lever, could be a door, could be a button, it could be a computer, it could be a landable zone. Okay, so all of those things could be interactables. And imagine that I have a system for each one of them. Like, imagine all of them have the same interactable tag, okay? So if I have a system for each one of those that detects when for example, the player interacted with a lever, it's going to try to get the component. So I have a script for NPC, and then a script for lever, and then a script for door to detect each one of those. So in this case, what could happen is, imagine I have all of those systems working like active at the same time, and I go through something that you can interact with. So yeah, I'm not doing a good job of explaining this. So let me try to think about this. So let me just grab a screenshot of this, okay? And let me just create like a player here, okay? So the player, so those are all of the types of things, not all, but let's say we have all of these things that the astronaut can interact with. So we have an NPC, we have a lever, and blah blah blah. Now, if I create a system for each one of these, so that the player has some script that will handle the interaction with this, okay, so it has this system, and then it has the system for handling interaction with levers, then it has the system for interaction with doors, then it has the system for interacting with buttons. Okay, you're already seeing the problem here, I think so. So I have all of those systems in the player. So what happens when I interact with something? When the player interacts with something, all of those systems are going to try to get the component from it, from that thing. And yeah, that's not great, I think. So I'm trying to think like, what's the best structure for this? Because I could be like separating the actual like the types of interactables, because I think in this example all of them share one thing in common, which is that for you to interact, like they share something in common, which is whenever the player enters that interaction, then the player can press a button and something happens, okay? So yeah, based on that, I'm trying to think about like, how can I englobe all of those things in one thing, and that's the thing I'm not sure about. So yeah, there's a couple things I could do. There's a couple options. Option number one, I create a tag for each one of those. Okay, so let's say here I'm going to, can I duplicate this? Yeah. So I'm going to say options. So my options are create a tag for each one, or the other one is create single tag interactable. Now, what are the pros and cons of each one? So pros for this one is that I only do get component I only do get component once I only do just one. Okay, so that's one of the pros for creating a tag for each one. Okay. And then cons, I think the cons is lots of different tags. So that's basically for the option number 1, which is create a tag for each one. And then for creating a single tag, interactable, so pros, only one tag, and cons, I need to do try get component to see if to see if the interactable is the thing I'm looking for. Okay. So let's analyze this a little bit closer. So you see how here in the interaction area I have filter tags, okay? Here, so here the interaction area, this thing, this trigger, this is going to only interact with things that have this tag, and tags can be set to any game object. So game objects can contain tags, okay? Can have tags. So the tags, that is what I'm using to filter for interactions. So the two options is, one of the options is one, I create just one tag called interactions or interactable, and then everything that's going to be an interactable, so all of this is going to have the same tag, which is interactable. That's option number 2. But the option number 1 is create a tag for each thing. So I would have a tag called NPC. I would have another tag for lever. I would have another tag called door. I would have another tag called button. You know, so that's the thing. I would have another tag called computer, another tag called landable zone. So what this means is that if I have different tags, I don't need to do get component in for each one of the so the get component thing is like is going to know that this thing I interacted with is going to be that thing I'm looking for. So if I interact with something that has the tag NPC, then I know that this thing is going to have a component of type NPC. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to turn on the light because it's getting really dark here. Okay, I'm back. So basically in the option, like if I create a tag for each one of the things, that's one of the good things, is that when I do get component, I don't need to check if the thing has the component, because I already know, okay? Because the tag is going to ensure that I'm interacting with that thing. But on the other hand, if I do just one tag called interactable, then I would have to just filter through like each one of the systems that are going to handle the different types of interactions. All of those systems, instead of filtering for the through the tag to say, okay, I am the door system and I interacted with the lever. Okay, so do nothing. I'm not going to do anything. Instead, if I only create one tag, if the door system interacts with the lever, if the player interacted with the lever, okay, then the door system that handles the interaction with doors is going to say, okay, try to get the component of this to see if this is a lever, and then we check if we do something or not. And all of the systems would need to do the same thing. Okay, so they would need to try to get the component to corroborate that that the thing that the interactable is of the same type. So I think this is an easy answer. I'm not completely sure, but I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a different tag for everything. Because I really don't know. So yeah, for that I have the different tags here. So I'm thinking that I should maybe create a scriptable object thing to hold all of the tags, I think. I don't know. I like having them as an enum because it's easier to select. So for example, here is just an enum. I can select it like here, but like when I create a tag here, it's just a thing that I create and yeah, whatever. So I think I'm just going to separate this to its own, to its own thing. So I'm just going to go to game tag, and yeah, this should be there. Okay, this should not be a class, a partial class. That's dumb. Now game engine is going to have this partial thing. Okay, great. So now now here in the game tag thing, I can define all of the tags I want. Okay, so I have astronaut, I have ground, I have hitbox, I have birdbox, I have entity, and I can like keep defining stuff, like, because this is basically infinite. Like I can have whatever amount of tags I want, and that's great, but of course it's not good to have like 1,000,000 tags because it's not maintainable at all. So yeah, those tags should basically, oh yeah, now I have those errors. So instead of game engines, I'm going to say game tag. Okay, perfect. Now this should also do this. And here I should also do this. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now it's fixed. Now I hope it doesn't break here. It's going to break, I think. Oh no. Okay, that's perfect. So hurtbox detects hitbox and hitbox detects hurtbox. Okay, that's perfect. Now now I'm trying to think about this because like the thing is like should the landable zone be its own type of interaction area? Because like it is going to have like, yeah, let me think about this for a moment. Huh. I'm trying to think about this. Yeah, I think maybe the landable zone should be its own type of just like hitbox, for example. You can see hitbox, it's its own type of interaction area, and it's going to do something when it detects hurtbox. So I think I should be doing the same thing with the landable zone and stuff. Yeah, I think so. And I'm not going to be here for much longer, but like I think, and also lander controller should be the other thing that detects landable zones. Yeah, and this way I think like lander controller could like send a message to the landable zone. Okay, so yeah, it could send a message to landable zone to say, okay, I hit you, okay, I interacted with you, and this is my information. Okay, can I land? Okay, and then the landable zone is going to send that information to the landing system, and that's going to determine if it can land or not. And then, for example, landable zone could have other properties, such as, for example, like requirements for landing. So yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but yeah. Yeah, I think I should do that actually. Landable zone, and landable zone should be yeah, you can see here, for example, hurtbox hurtbox is something that has an interaction area, but then it's this is called by something that interacted with that interaction area. So I think landable zones should be similar to the hurtbox thing. And then yeah, I'm just going to move this to lander controller. Okay, so I'm just going to say interaction area. Okay, so lander controller has the interaction area for detecting the landable zone. Yeah, I think so. So here, instead of on detect entity, this is going to be on detect landable zone. And how do I know that this is going to detect a landable zone? Well, I'm going to know that because I'm going to filter through the tag. So yeah, and that tag is going to be defined here. So here I should define a new tag called landable zone. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the best way of doing this actually. Not the best, but I don't know. On detect landable zone, okay, if I detected a landable zone, if I entered landable zone, then I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do try get component. So if interaction info.other.try get component out landable zone L landable zone, okay, then I'm going to debug.log something. So detected landable, and here I'm going to say landable zone dot game object dot name. Okay. So here, instead of doing this debug.log, I'm going to say landable zone dot. I'm just going to copy this because it's going to be convenient to copy it. So to do this, on received hit, instead of doing that, I'm going to say on received lander. And instead of receiving damage info, I'm not going to receive anything for now. Well, yeah, I'm going to receive a lander controller. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So on received lander, okay. Receive lander. And here, instead of doing this, I'm going to send other information here. Okay, so I think that this makes more sense. And landing system, so landing system should be the one that's subscribed to the event, to all of the events of each landable zone in the scene. Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense actually. So like we have the landing system. Okay, this is a system, and this, so like we have the space, and we have like I don't know, a planet here and here and here and here, and then we have like floating islands like this, okay, there and here, for example, and we have space stations, for example. I don't know, I'm just drawing stuff, or let's call this an asteroid because it makes more sense. And then we have space stations like this, I don't know, whatever. And each one of these is a landable zone. Okay, so all of these things are landable zones. So the landing system is the thing that's going to manage the landing of each thing that wants to land in anything. Okay, so the landing system is going to get all of the landable zones. Okay, it's going to get them. Going to say, okay, give me all of the landable zones that there are in the scene, and it's going to subscribe to the events of each one of them. Okay, so all of the events, they all of the landable zones have this event. So the landing system is going to subscribe to those events of each one of them, so that whenever something enters the landing zone, okay, the landable zone is going to say, okay, I can land here, and this landable zone is going to receive the information and fire the event, okay? And so the landing system is going to listen to that event and say, okay, it is going to do something about it. And for now, the only thing I need to do is just see if the thing that received the if the lander is the astronaut, okay, the player. And then I'm going to show some UI and stuff. But if not, what should happen is the landing system should basically enable the lander to land. Okay. 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 Okay, great. So perfect. So now here in the landing system, whatever, I'm not going to do anything there. I'm just going to try to do this, okay? Detected landable zone. And here in the landable zone, I'm going to say lander controller.gameObject.name. Okay, perfect. Okay. 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 So now, now I actually think I should move the landing system inside the folder. Like landing system should go inside interactions. Landing system, I have this, landing system, lander controller, landable zone, and iLandable. That interface I'm going to remove because I'm not using it at all. So yeah. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Now I have to open all of that again. So landing system, landable zone, and land controller. Perfect. Okay, great. Now, what do I need? I need a prefab variant of this. So I'm going to create a prefab variant, and I'm going to name it lander controller. Okay. And for this, I'm going to say, okay, add component lander controller. And this is going to have this reference. And for this, I'm going to say it's a trigger, it's a circle, I don't know, the shape. But yeah, let's make it a circle. And the filter tags is going to be landable zone. So lander controller is only going to filter through landable zone. Okay. That's perfect actually. So here I should also add that tag. Perfect. And that's great. So now I can go here, ignore whatever, collider, yeah, whatever. So now I can say editor setup, and now I have this trigger, okay? And since this is an interaction, I think I should make it like blue. So I'm going to setup. Okay, whatever. Oh, this is not working, so I'm just going to remove that. Not that, but that. Okay. Okay, perfect. So we can see that this circle collider is a trigger. The tag, this doesn't need a tag because this is this is the thing that's going to detect the landable zone and inform it. So that's what I'm thinking about. Okay, so perfect. And now I also need another one called landable zone. Okay, so landable zone. Landable zone, I'm going to remove this and also this. And this is not going to have any filter tags. This is going to have the landable zone script. And this is not going to have any filter tags. And also this, yeah, this is going to be cyan, okay, and it's going to have a trigger and whatever. So I'm going to hit setup and that's it. So now I have the components for both of those. So now I can go to planet. I can go here and under interaction, I have this, but this doesn't make any sense. So here I'm just going to remove this and go back to landing system. I'm going to add landable zone here. Okay. So now this, the only thing I need to do is just adjust the radius. Let's set it to 2, for example. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's fine. So that's great. Now we have this and landable zone. Oh yeah, that's the thing I was missing. So I have to set it to this tag. Okay, so landable zone now has its own tag. Okay. And that's pretty much perfect, I think. Yeah. I think maybe 2 for the radius is too big, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay, perfect. So, okay, my monitor just turned off. So I think that's great, actually. Okay. Okay, great. So now what would happen is under, like inside this prefab, inside this entity, which is the isometric starship, this is just an entity. So this is going to contain a lander controller. Okay. And this, the radius of this should be like a lot smaller, so maybe there. That's fine. Okay, that's perfect. So now the lander controller, this trigger is going to detect the planets where it can land. Okay, so this should actually work right now. So let's test it. So let's go to whatever planet, okay? Let's go to this one, the one that's right there. So this one is really far away. Maybe do this, okay. So now at some point I should be detecting the actual trigger. Well, yeah, it didn't work actually. For some reason. Okay, so what did happen here? What happened? Let's see. So lander controller is going to detect this, and if the interaction type was not entered, then it's going to return, and then this is going to try to get the component of type landable zone. Okay, so this didn't work. Okay, so let's see what happens with this. Oh, actually, I don't need to be doing this. I can just basically just activate gizmos there. Yeah, you can see the... Why is it doing that? That's really weird. That's really, really weird. Yeah, why is it moving like that? It's really, really weird. Isometric lander controller. Kinematic, simulator, continuous. Maybe it's because I didn't set it to interpolate. Well, none of them are in interpolate, but... Oh yeah, look at this. This is really bad. Why is it doing that? Well, I think maybe it's just the gizmo. Well, I don't know. Man. Okay, look at this. If I don't interpolate the position of the thing, then it doesn't do that weird thing, the colliders. Huh. That's really weird. Okay, I want to get close to inside the actual scene again. No more water, so I will have to refill my water. Well, in any case, I'm just going to end the stream soon, so yeah. This system is not easy, man. Where the hell did I go, man? Why am I so far away? Okay. So, what's happening here? Why is this not detecting the thing? So let me just go here and... Let me just try to see if that's doing something. Maybe I forgot something, I don't know. But lander controller, filter, landable zone. Oh, landable zone is... But I don't think I... Yeah, it's spelled like that. Oh, maybe it's because... I know why this is like that. You can see here, landable zone doesn't have a space, but here it does have a space. So I have two ways of dealing with this. One is when I do the check, I remove the space, or the other one is just I create the tag the same way this is showing. So yeah. The thing, what I could do is just, oh yeah, I cannot modify that. That's really bad, actually. So interaction area. is filter tag to string dot remove. What can I remove here? Index. So I wanted to do something like this, or like this. Maybe that could work. Can be simplified, okay. Use range operator. Yeah, I don't know if that's doing what I want. Ah, this is so dumb, man. But it seems like I have to create the actual tag in Unity. Like here, I should create it the same way that it's being displayed here, because I don't know why enums do this thing where, well, I can see why, but it's basically adding a space here, which, yeah, I don't know. Let me just check. Oh man, how can I check if this is actually interacting with the thing? So let's debug.log filter tags to that. So I'm going to debug.log that. Okay, I'm just going to check if this is being detected at all, and I'm going to end the stream there. And here I'm going to say tag. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to debug.log that and see what the hell is happening here. So maybe this is the issue I was talking about. Maybe that's what's happening. Let's hope that's what's happening, because it's going to be the easiest solution, of course. But yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty close to this one. So I'm just going to remove this, and I'm going to wait for this to be detected. Landable zone, landable zone. So there's no difference at all. So what's happening? I think there's no difference. Landable zone and landable zone. So yeah, this is pretty much exactly, yeah. So why is this not detecting the thing? Lander controller on detect landable controller, landable zone, sorry. Interaction area on trigger. So let's okay, let's see what the hell's happening here. I don't really know what's happening. So the tags are supposed to be equal, so yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, you can see the gizmos there are moving like crazy. So yeah. Yeah, nothing's logging, man. What the hell? Why is that the case? What the hell is happening, man? Is it because like lander controller doesn't have? Yeah, it has the thing on detect landable zone on trigger. I don't know what's happening. Let's put this again, and let's add another thing, which is just checking this. I'm going to see if that's true, because maybe it's it is showing like the string is exactly the same, but maybe it's returning false for some reason. Okay, so False, 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 false. Okay, perfect. Now let's go there. Okay. So here, I'm just going to wait for this to... Okay, whatever. So, landable zone, true, true. Okay, so this is being detected. So what the hell's happening? This is returning true. So it's filter tag, return now interaction info, callback, invoke. What's happening? I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's going to add some debugs there to see what the hell's happening. Well, actually, I'm going to set 1 here, 2 here, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's see what the hell. I don't get it. I don't know what the hell's happening, actually. It's really dumb. Like, this is under layer interactions, like they are interacting because you can see that actually they have the same freaking name, like the tag is exactly the same, but for some weird reason this event is not working. So maybe for some reason this is not subscribed to the event. I don't know, man. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The event is actually being executed, but why lander controller? What am I doing wrong? This must be a really silly thing. So this is not being called for some reason. Maybe this is not being, like, it's not being subscribed. What the hell? Subscribing, and here I should put like unsubscribe. On detect landable zone. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is so weird. I don't get it at all. Like, you can see here, interaction area is actually like sending the event. Yeah, I can just Control Z everything like that. It's be easier. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Maybe it's not even subscribing at all, but it's really dumb. What's happening, man? It's really dumb. Subscribing. So it is subscribing to the event. Why is it not working, man? So stupid. Why? What the hell is happening? I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. So annoying, man. So let's go here and landable zone. It has the script landable zone. Let's change the tag to hitbox, for example, and let's go here and try filtering through hitbox only. Yeah, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't matter. Like, the event is not being called. Oh my god. Oh man. What the hell? What the hell? Okay, so I know why this is not working now, but why is this like this? Oh man. Okay, whatever. So now it's going to work. This is so stupid. So basically the event that was being called was on collision instead of on trigger, because here for some reason it was calling on, like I was passing through parameter the on collision. I don't know why that was the case, because I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. So okay, let's go back here. This is so stupid, man. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to remove all of those logs here too. Oh man, this was really annoying. Like, man. But yeah, it should work now, and I'm going to check if it works right now, and after that I'm going to be done with the stream. Okay, so yeah. Oh yeah, and you know what, I'm going to here, instead of saying landable zone dot game object, I'm going to say that transfer the parent dot parent. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this, so transfer the parent dot parent. Okay. Perfect. So now we're going to see what's happening here. Okay, hit play. Okay, there's just one planet really far away. I'm going to turn off gizmos because it's really annoying how it... Okay. Detected landable zone, planet, celestial object. Okay, perfect. But there's one thing that didn't work, and it's this. Oh yeah, I'm so stupid. I didn't do the thing, so I should do this. So now it is going to log like the other way around. It's going to log what's the thing that's interacting with this. Okay, perfect. So now I can do the same. I hit play. I'm going to go to a planet, and we should be seeing the... Well, it actually already detected, so you can see receiving lander isometric entity. So yeah, it's not this, it's going to be that, but whatever. So okay, so that's perfect. Actually, I actually think that this is a good way of doing this. And if anything, I should be able to just refactor this later. If like, the thing is, you should be able to identify when it's time to refactor and create a system out of this. So you can see that I have this landing system and landing controller and that landable zone, and now what's happening is basically lander controller detects the landable zone and tells to the landable zone, okay, receive lander this, receive me, and now landable zone is going to receive the lander and fire this event. And this event is going to be listened from the landing system. So landing system is going to say, okay, that landable zone received a lander. Okay, so now this landing system is going to make the lander able to land. And yeah, okay. So then, for example, in the case of the player, if the player presses the interaction button, like in this case, it's going to be hold. So if it holds the interaction button, then it's going to land on the planet, and that's it. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I think that's going to be the stream for today. Okay. So we ended up doing this. Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to leave this here because it's not doing anything. And all of this should go there. Under interaction area, whatever. And workstation, you can see here, landable zone, component, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And lander controller is the thing that lands on a landing zone. Okay. So now I should say landing system, subscribe or listen to the events of every landable zone. Okay, so find all landable zones in the scene, subscribe to their events or when they receive a lander. If the enable or authorize the lander to land, and then if the lander is okay, so that's what we're going to do in the next stream. Okay, we basically just need to work in the landing system script. Okay, and I'm going to clarify this. Okay, landing system class. So this should be easy, and yeah, that's what should happen whenever we enter a landable zone. That landable zone is going to tell the landing system, okay, it's going to fire an event and say, okay, I have a lander here inside my area that could land here. Okay, and then the landing system is going to tell that lander that it can land now. And also, if that lander is the astronaut, like the player, is going to show the UI corresponding to that. Okay, that's basically what I need. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, for now, this is what we have for today. Okay. So that's gonna be the stream for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching and for chatting. Thank you very, very much. Don't forget to join the Discord, as always. If you want to get notifications when I go live, be sure to join the Discord because I always send a message there when I go live. So that way you don't need to trust the notification bell from Twitch or YouTube or whatever. You can just get the notification from Discord directly. And also you can share your stuff there if you're working on a game, if you're an artist doing like making pixel art, or I don't know, whatever kind of thing that you want to share, you can share it there and you can get feedback from me or from the community too. Okay, so that's really good. And yeah, and also if you're watching from YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And whatever, if you're watching from Twitch too, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because there is where all of the streams are being stored, basically. So you can basically just watch all of the streams for the development of Voyager. Okay, so that's really cool, I think, because on Twitch they get deleted after 30 days, I think, and YouTube is going to be the place where you can find all of the streams and all of that, basically show the development process and the Voyager dev journey. Okay. Okay, so with that, I've finished stream. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Okay, bye bye.